Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for the special figure showcase and review, we're going to be looking at the 2-pack. This is the Timelines Heart of Steel Bumblebee and Megatron figures. So in this video, we're going to have a detailed look at them in both of the modes, help you decide how you want to display them. We're going to bring in some other Bumblebee and Megatron figures just to see how they compare in size and in detail. And of course, we'll have a look at their accessories and how they can be used in both modes. Now, before we get started, I'd like to remind anybody who's not subscribed to the channel, if you'd like to hit that subscribe button for me now, please, because it really will help me out. Also, I know people are asking, I got this from San Diego Comic-Con, and unfortunately I cannot tell you exactly when it is going to get an issue. It was just brought as a convention exclusive whilst I was there. So before we get started, let's have a look at the packaging, because it is stunning. So you've got this sleeve which comes over the top of the box with your Megatron and Bumblebee characters there on the front. And then this all looks very industrial, very sort of machine and mechanic-like. It is brilliant, to be fair. You probably already noticed I've uploaded these separate tutorials on the transformations, and I've also done an unboxing video as well. So that is the outer sleeve. These come packaged in like what I could describe as a bit like the Takara books. What you've got here is the Autobot there, I'm presuming, yeah, the Decepticon on that side, and they were packaged in robot mode like so. Again, beautiful, beautiful, stunning packaging, in honesty. Right, let's get the figures back and let's have a look at them, because these are really, really intriguing, to be honest, and I suppose they are better than what I thought. And that's because, I'm being honest, I really didn't know what to expect from these at all, because again, in all honesty, if I'm being honest, I don't really know too much about this Hearts of Steel storyline, but I do like the fact that we've got a fully functioning and working train, which is great. This is quite small in this alternate mode, to be honest, but the detail is great. You can see here all the wheels are individually pegged. You've also got the accessories in the bottom. I'm going to show you them in a second. We've got B written on the side, which is fantastic, and again, it's just really, really clever. It just works, to be honest. I'm going to take out these right now. The problem with these is once they're in, I suppose that's not really a problem. I suppose that's a good thing. Once they're in, they can be super difficult to get out. And to be fair, you can just see how difficult that is. So what I might do, and I think I've got enough leverage on that one, and then with this one as well, I was going to say is I might just leave them in, to be honest, but I've started now. So let's see if I can continue. I'm going to have to find an Optimus weapon to prise it out. There we go. So that's really good storage if you wanted to. The other bits of detail on it, the gold looks great. Again, don't worry guys, it's not gold plastic. No issues or any dangers of that breaking at all. I've just knocked all of this out of position now, so let's just reattach all of that. As I said, it is quite small, but again, most Bumblebee figures are quite small. It's bigger than your animated version though, and is about as big as the Netflix. So again, it's not, you know, overly small, but of course it's nowhere near as big as some of the Bumblebee figures that we've had that's a small one as well. There we go. But in regards to, I suppose, the most commonly compared figure, there it is. He probably will fit, yeah, he'll fit on the back of your Earthrise Optimus. Right, let's move him out of the way. Let's have a quick look now at Megatron. Now, this is the one that intrigued me the most. This is just a genius idea, because he can't be a gun. And if he's not going to be a tank, then he might as well be a cannon. This works incredibly well. Very impressed with how this looks. These aren't overly sharp, if you're wondering. Everything pretty much tucks away quite neatly. Yeah, you can probably tell that's his legs, but you know, it still tends to work. All these wheels underneath just roll independently as well. The cannon you can take out. I am presuming that it is blast effect compatible. I need to find one just to make sure. Now I've said that, let me just see. Oh no, it's not. There we go. That was a good idea that I checked, because it's not. It is, I think it's 5mm port, or is it bigger than that? No, it's even bigger than that. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like he is blast effect compatible. The silver on the wheels does look great, and again, it's a cannon. It's a medieval cannon. I think it looks great. And this, funny enough, let's have a look at the other deluxe Megatron that we've had. We don't tend to get many deluxe Megatrons, let's be honest, do we? So it's interesting to see how these two share and line up together. So this is, of course, the Transformers 1, which I've just knocked out of there now. Are both very different. This one's more small and chunky. This one's more long and sleek. But either way, that is your deluxe Megatrons. You can see how they I suppose, yeah, fair up against each other. But of course, a lot smaller than this. Is just ridiculous. How this ever got to be a Voyager, I don't know. There's another cannon. That is, of course, Bumblebee Shockwave. He looks like he's fallen off a shelf, which he probably has, unfortunately. And then, of course, another giant cannon, which is your Galvatron. Again, leader class. So very small compared to them. And then very quickly again, because we've got to bring this in, that's how he fares up against them. So that is all there is to pretty much say about the alternate modes. You can maneuver that around a little bit. You can, of course, take it off as well if you wanted to. So if you're looking at this in a few years' time and you buy one on the secondary market without the cannon, it's pretty, yeah, it doesn't really suit its purpose in this particular mode. Robot mode, though, you'll probably get away with, which we're going to come right back now and have a look at them in their robot modes. We're back for the final time with them in the robot modes, and to be honest, this is exactly how I'm going to be displaying them. I'm going to start off with Megatron, because if you remember at the end of the last segment, I was talking about if you haven't got his accessories. To be honest, as you can see in robot mode, if you don't have his accessories, it's not too bad. It just means that he's missing, obviously, the cannon, which is literally a cannon. But before we have a look at that, let me just quickly bring this up and you can have a look. I think it's a brilliant head sculpt, to be fair. I love the fact that we've got this gunmetal grey with the silver, with a normal grey. It just tends to really work with him. I do like the fact that he looks a bit industrial at the same time. It sounds crazy with him being like a medievalish cannon, but he looks sort of industrial. Sounds like a contradiction, but I do think, to me, that's what he's looking like. I did point this out in the unboxing. He does have a bit of a gap there in the back of the calves, but it's not too bad. And that is, of course, that is just where the feet do fold up. Articulation wise, the head will turn all the way around. It will look up and down, and you've just got to be careful because that's for transformation. So it can give a little bit of extra articulation without creating a huge gap if you wanted to. You could bring these up like that. You can just about get the full T, but unfortunately with the size of the huge cannon wheels, you can't go all the way. These will go all the way around unrestricted. You can swivel at the shoulder, you can double bend at the bicep if you wanted to, and the wrist unfortunately will not spin because it is of course attached to the forearm, and I'm sure you can guess it tucks into there. But it is really clever. We have a waist swivel, again unrestricted. You can go just past the point of the splits ever so slightly in both ways, I think. Let me move the arms out of the way. Only just, but yeah, you could do if you wanted to. There's your thigh swivel, there's your knee bend, ankle tilt, rock, toe tap, etc. Again, looking really good. Let me just again bring the camera down a little bit. In fact, I'll keep it there for some comparisons. Let's put this arm cannon right in there, and let's bring in Megatron. So this is of course your other deluxe Megatron, and he's only a fraction smaller than him, to be honest. Not much difference with them at all, but again, because he's got this really cool 5mm port, you can do this with them all, to be honest. If you wanted to, you could give him the medieval cannon. If you wanted to, you could give him the oversized Transformers 1 cannon. So you've got a bit of fun that you can have with that. You can mix and match them all around, which again, I'm sure you'll agree is great. I've just found this one as well, actually. So you could actually, if you wanted to, you could give him the Bumblebee stroke cliff jumper cannon as well. There's loads of things that you can do with this, and that's what I love about these toys, the fact that you can just mix and match, play around with them, and that doesn't look too bad at all, actually. So let's give him his proper weapon just to continue with this. Yeah, as I say, these aren't sharp. The silver's looking great, and to be honest, compared to him, it's not that bad at all, is it really? Let's bring in a few other figures just to give you an idea of scale and size. So that is your Voyager or leader class if he comes with a load of accessories, which he's not much smaller than, to be honest. He is quite a bit bigger, as you'd expect, than my Skybound core class Optimus Prime. Let me just bring in very quickly again, just for some ideas, if you don't collect all these newer figures. That is of course the G1 Prime, and then of course the main one, or the new one shall we say, that is your Commander class, which as we'd expect, he's nowhere near as big as. Very quickly, and then we'll switch straight onto him. There is your Bumblebee. So that is how they look together, and again, because he's smaller, let's quickly adjust this down there. So that's how they look together. There we go, looking brilliant. Let's have a quick look at the articulation on Bumblebee. So head, again, it will turn around. It is slightly, it's not restricted, but it is a bit of a pain. The head sculpt, I think, is lovely though. Look at that. I think that looks absolutely stunning. The arms, you can get the full T easy. You've got the extra hinges there as well. You can see underneath for extra movement. These will spin around. It is restricted going back that way. Bicep flexion, wrists don't swivel. Waist does swivel. You can lift these up as well if you wanted to, just again for however you want to pose it. It does look pretty good. Aesthetics, that's the word I was after. Waist swivel, legs splits that way and splits that way, no problem at all. Thigh cut, knee bend, ankle tilt, rock, loads of things you can do with them feet. And funny enough, unlike Megatron, in fact, yeah, unlike Megatron in both modes, if you don't get the accessories, again, if you're watching this at a later date, it really doesn't affect this guy at all. He's got the hammer there with the Autobot logo on it, which looks great. He's got this little pistol looking weapon, which again looks great. And compared to some other Bumblebee figures, he's not a bad size actually when he's in robot mode, which you can see there. He's quite big compared to some of the other ones. Right, let's bring in some more figures again, just to give you some idea of size and height. So there's Solus. I don't know what's happened to her ankle. Let me see if I can get her to stand. So yeah, not a bad scale compared to the rest of the deluxe. Nowhere near as big as your Voyager classes, which is of course exactly what we'd expect. And just for a bit of fun, nowhere near as big as your leader class, which you can see there. But overall, it's a good set. It's an interesting set. It's definitely piqued my interest because I don't know anything about them. So I'm now going to, of course, try and, well, go and find the, I think it was the IDW. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I'm going to go and try and find the timeline story on these two. But that is this 2-pack. Again, if I find out soon enough when it's going to be available for normal retail, I will let you know as soon as I do. But in the meantime, this is your Hearts of Steel twin pack Bumblebee and Megatron from the Timelines collection. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.